Hello, and welcome to another episode of Mori, where we have the classic battle of good versus evil, bad versus right, and how one's mere existence could change one's plain life. Now let's meet our guests. And first we have Austria.
Glad to be here, glad to be here.
Our second guest we have Italy. And next we have Prussia. So what brings all of our guests here today is the issue of whether or not the revolutions of 1848 were a real turning point in European history. So, Austria, let's start with you.
Well, Maury, I have to say that this truly was a turning point for Austria. Of course, the revolutions of 1848, of course. But I would have to say that there are a couple things that result from this. The first off, I would say there's the fall of Metternich. We see Metternich resign because, quite frankly, he just wasn't the leader for us during this period. And next, we also see the Magyar situation rise in Hungary. And this eventually leads to the creation of the Austrian-Hungarian Empire, of the dual monarchy system.
Oh, well, that's some very interesting input, Austria. We'll come back to you. Next we have Italy. Tell me what's good.
Thank you for having me on the show, Mari. Now, I am a representative of Italy. I don't sound like it, but I mean, hey, I like pizza, so I guess that works. Anyway, the revolutions of 1848, it was definitely a turning point for Italy, because we sort of see that the people are more involved in this. And, of course, I could explain some more stuff about this later. But looking before, out into the 30s, the 1830s, that is, we see these insurrections that have just failed, with young Italy, led by Mazzini, the Carbonari, the underground movements. Anyway, the problem with this was that there was a general apathy amongst the majority of the Italian people. This was mainly between, Italian nationalists. But we really don't see more of this frustration towards the government until about 1846 with the election of the new Pope.
Oh, well please, tell me more about this Pope.
Well, Pope Pius IX, elected into the papacy in 1846, he was a very liberal pope. He made a lot of liberal reforms, one of which was the curtailing of censorship in Italy. Now, this allowed many free-minded, free-thinking journalists to start writing and to spread these nationalist, liberal views to the Italian people, and along with a shortage in food, famine, in 1846 and 1847 that led the Italian people to be hungry, influenced with these writings. Of course, you can see revolution on the way.
Oh, well thank you very much. Now, what would you say was the top result for Italy after the revolutions?
Well, the biggest result for the revolutions of 1848, because although not much was achieved after the Austrian army took care of those insurrections, was the lasting constitution for Piedmont Sardinia, which made it in turn more liberal and allowed an integral position for Camillo de Cavour to take lead, because after all, he was the one who unified Italy.
That's a lie! What about Mazzini? And what about Garibaldi?
Oh yeah, I'll show you Mazzini!
Wow, that was extremely insightful. Thank you very much, Italy. Next, And finally, we have Prussia. You know what? Thank you, Maury, but frankly, I don't even know why I'm here. Because you know what? During the revolutions of 1848 and after, I saw no change whatsoever. We as Prussia have always been a strong little unit, okay? You know what? We had the idea of maybe a Kleindeutschland, where we excluded places like Austria. Because you know what? They're weak, and we don't got time for the little Magyar problem or their Slav issue. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, no, you didn't.
Oh, yes, I did. And if you dare speak during my little segment, I will jump over this young Italian man. Okay? Okay. But you know, Mara, we also had this other idea of a Großdeutschland, where we included Austria in our German country, but frankly, I wasn't really a fan of it. But overall, I don't think the revolutions of 1848 affected us whatsoever. But on the contrary, they did affect Austria, and that's why I believe that we as Prussia were able to form Germany under our nation rather than Austria.
I would just like to address Prussia. I disagree with you calling us weak. I would say that that what occurred wasn't really our fault. It was more because of circumstance. Haha, so funny. But anyways, it was because of circumstances that we encountered. It wasn't truly something that we could have done something about. But I will agree with you in telling Mari that such a situation was truly responsible for affecting many other occurrences later on in history.
Now it's time to bring in a guest, or the guest, that's the cause of all this mayhem. Let's meet the revolutions of 1848. Hey, Tammy. Do we have the results yet?
Yeah, we do.
Thanks, Tammy.
You're welcome, don't worry.
Alrighty, well, we have the DNA results back. So, as most of you know, a turning point is an element, a force that could take somebody or something off of its predetermined course and completely change it for all we know. So, are you ready? We determined that the revolutions of 1848 were just a form of bringing in recognition among the respective European states and countries of nationalism, liberalism, bringing across ideas such as unification and truly bringing together these united countries that we know today. So, are you ready? From our test, we have determined that the revolutions of 1848, are indeed a real turning point in European history.